Hello, my name is Metaphors. I've been playing the game for a very long time. I'm a multi-rank 1 Resto Druid, and today I'm going to be explaining to you what I think is going to be the best build for Resto Druid PvP, specifically Arena in the War Within. Now, there's going to be a couple things that are very, very important because they're kind of niche and secret tech in a way that I'm revealing today. They haven't really been found out yet. A lot of people think that like druids are going to be really bad this season because the level of mastery that we're going to have, right? And then of course dragons being the best healer in the game right now, so it's a natural counter. But let's get into it. You have two choices here, right? You have Keeper of the Grove and the other Wildstalker, right? A lot of the good healers that you see play automatically would want to go towards Keeper of the Grove because this looks like more of the build that you would play for a healer. Like it just on paper it seems like when you read through these talents, you're gonna see that a lot of these things are like, oh, okay, this is probably going to be better for Resto Druid. When you read these things on face value, you're like, okay, this is probably going to be better for like damage and feral. But come to find out that there are actually some niche things in Wildstalker that actually make it better than Keeper of the Grove. And so here's the one let's go over some of the things that I found out now. Okay, so Symbiotic Bloom is actually crazy and increases all your healing done to the target by 20%. It's actually affected by mastery itself. I'm sitting there playing on the beta. I'm like, why does Druid not feel like good? It just doesn't feel good. What is missing here, right? So these are the things that I found out, and then I'm like sitting here looking at my talents. I'm like, nothing really feels good besides actually going in the tree form. This is your bread and butter for the entire build, is that, your Symbiotic Bloom is going to cause you to heal more, right? And so whenever you need to actually heal someone, you're going to be swift-mending them, right? So these two go hand in hand. So this is like very important to the puzzle. And then I'm like thinking, I'm like, okay, so for years now, Druid has basically needed to play Verdant Infusion for such a long time. This is the part where like no other druid is going to get, right? Because us as druids like all gravitate towards Verdant Infusion. I'm like, okay, this has to be the best talent, right? I like cracked the code. It was like so mind blowing because they also nerf Verdant Infusion. So in PvP, it extends the heal over time effects by like 4 seconds. How this works in actual play, you have more Swiftman charges. So what happens is every time you press Swiftman, you get a Reforestation stack from this talent right here, right? So you have opportunities to go into the proc tree more, which is like very, very insane, right? Because it all starts working together like a puzzle. So now you're gonna be in tree more often, which means you're gonna get an extra Grove Guardian from the tree proc, because when this thing expires, you're gonna proc a tree, right? So you're in proc tree more often, which is more efficient throughput healing, and then also you get more CDR on your actual tree itself. So you're in tree form a lot more because of this build. You're getting more Symbiotic Blooms, and I'm not done here. I feel like Billy Mays, and I'm not done, okay? So now, the synergy between that, what's going to happen here, is that if you look at your 4-set, your healing is increased by 8% when you consume Soul of Forest and afterwards for 6 seconds. So because you're dealing with more Swiftman charges, you're gonna have more healing from your tier as well. So let's recap everything, okay? So because you're playing Wildstalker, you're going to have more Symbiotic Blooms, right? Because you're playing double Swiftman. The double Swiftman is going to activate your tier set more. It's going to activate your tree form more. And it's going to give you more CDR. And like I said, it's going to give you more efficient throughput because you're actually in tree. It was like an insane puzzle to crack, all because, face value, Keeper of the Grove looks great. Looks better than Wildstalker. Everyone wants to play Verdant Infusion because every druid is so built into like extending their hots. The last part I forgot here. The reason why Verdant Infusion is not going to be the play is because now that we're in tree form, we're spamming regrowth. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but every time that when you cast a Swiftman, the thing it's going to so let's say you got a rejuve, right? And a regrowth here. Let's say I'm in tree, right? I'm in tree. So this hot is going to be there all the time, right? And then you press Swiftmend, it's always going to take, like, 9 out of 10 times, it's always going to take the regrowth hot. And you don't care about the regrowth hot. Why? Because you're applying the regrowth hot right afterwards. You actually don't care. You don't care about 4 seconds extending on your HOTS, and like it's not worth it anymore. So it's just way better. Like it's such a massive logic flaw because the game has changed, right? Old school Druid, yeah, I can understand. You know, when Verdant Infusion was 12 seconds, right? That's 12 seconds of HOTS, right? But now that Adaptive Swarm is gone and it's 4 seconds, like you're not really extending anything, and the only thing you're losing is the regrowth hot that you're applying right afterwards. And the logic flaw behind it as well is that when you go for the Swiftmen like this, right? When you go for the Swiftmen, you're losing the regrowth, but you're actually not losing any mastery stacks like to begin with because the Symbiotic Bloom is a mastery stack itself. So you're just basically replacing the regrowth hot with a Symbiotic Bloom. So you're actually never going down in HPS if you were to Swiftman. And like I said, because you're in tree form, you're gonna have more of the regrowth hot anyway. Like you just always have the regrowth hot. It doesn't matter. So like I said, like 80% of the time it's gonna take it away. And this is like the most crucial thing that I tried to explain the best way I could, right? All these things working together is why it's such a strange perfect symphony that I didn't see coming. And like I said, no one else is playing this build. It hasn't really been fully discovered or developed yet. This is the first time that you're gonna hear about it. Like people have played like portions of it, but never fully cracked the code as to like reasons why. Like they would maybe play Wildstalker, but for different reasons, right? But this is the true reason. This is the truth behind it all. This is the secret. That's kind of like my Resto Druid like guide for the War Within. I mean, I could go over the basics and stuff like that, but this is kind of more like if you are already a developed Druid, like you kind of know how the class is played, but this is kind of like the secret into like how it's going to transition into the new expansion. Some of the things I can go over now that I am changing my playstyle and my build. I don't really press Send Ward nearly as often. Send Ward's kind of like icing on the cake. I don't prioritize it. So let's say you're going for your healing rotation like this, right? And then you would get your Send Ward up early, right? And let's like before you would try to get your adaptive swarm out and your send word up early, right? So when it finally procs, you want to get it to the point where it like matches your Swiftman timer, right? But you don't really have to worry about that anymore. I use send word when I don't have enough healing. It's more of just like an extra hot on the target that has weak healing. You prioritize the Swiftmend. The send word can come at any time now instead of having the send word out before you Swiftmend. With this build, you have a floating talent. In my opinion, I think, Dream State's really good, especially for solo shuffle arena. Dream State's really good. So I like having this talent here. And then the other option is probably Call the other Druid, and then also Verdancy if you're playing like playing with a Shadow Priest or something. I think Verdancy could be really good too. So this is really nice because now you have this free open talent that gives you different options. You have like this really niche floating talent now that you didn't have as a druid before. So it's kind of cool. But I've been playing this obviously because this is what I was playing on the beta for solo shuffle. The reason why I like Dream State as well is because I have two charges of Swiftman here, right? And I go into the Trank. See, I'm like charging up one and then I'm charging up the next one. And I think this is like really cool, right? So now I'm back to like two Swiftmans again, right? And then I can Swiftman again twice. I'm not saying I would do this, but I'm saying like I can Swiftman so often that I'm back in the tree. I'm back into a tree proc again. It's like so good. That's pretty much it. I know it was a little bit advanced for like a beginner druid, like I said. If you want me to make a beginner Resto Druid guide, feel free to come into my stream and we could talk about all those things. And if it's in such demand, then I'll consider it. But thank you for watching. Make sure you follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/metaphors. Thank you.